HLE has finally done it. For the first time in their organization history, they've qualified for MSI. At the end of the split, HLE barely managed to secure first place, with T1 getting second and Genji placing third. This put T1 and HLE into a separate bracket where they faced each other, with the winning team immediately going to MSI as the first seed. Now, you might be thinking, oh, 2 chances to make MSI? That's not too bad. Surely Hanwha Life will do it. Well, let's go back in time and see what happened last time HLE was in this situation. In 2025, HLE picked up Zeus from T1 and formed the super team of Zeus, Peanut, Zeka, Viper, and the like. HLE wasted no time in getting to the top of the LCK, winning the first LCK Cup, which allowed them to go to first stand as the Korean representative. They then won their first stand against Europe's Carmen Corp in a 4-game series. Going into Road to MSI 2025, HLE and Genji found themselves in the winners bracket, and HLE was up 2-0 on Genji with only 1 game left to advance to MSI. As fate would have it, they got reverse swept by Genji. At this point, they still had a second shot as they faced off against T1 in the next round. They then proceeded to get blasted by T1, losing 3-0 and missing out on a chance to head to MSI. To make matters worse, T1 and Genji ended up facing off against each other in the finals of MSI, with Genji barely winning in the 5th game and gaining a second consecutive MSI trophy. In that summer, HLE managed to make it to the finals, but lost to Genji 3-1 as Genji lifted the trophy. They were once again beaten by Genji in Worlds semifinals and knocked out of the tournament, ending their year. This gave HLE a bad reputation. They were known as a team that could perform in the regular split, but when things got hard, and when the stakes were high, they would crumble. Going into the offseason, longtime jungler Peanut retired to complete his military service. Their star ADC, Viper, also left, going to the LPL and playing for BLG Gaming. To fill in their gaps, HLE made some massive signings going into the offseason. They managed to get Gumayusi, who had just won Finals MVP in T1 and 3 back-to-back World Championships. They also acquired Kanavi, a really strong jungler from the LPL who played for JD Gaming and TES. Roster of superstars, HLE was looking to finally cement themselves as the top dogs of the LCK. Going into the matchup between HLE and T1, the majority of casters and analysts had predicted that T1 would take the series easily. Now, let's take a look at how HLE were able to silence the naysayers and lock in a ticket to MSI. Game 1 started out with Oner securing a kill for Peyz by ganking the bot lane and killing the Sigs. In the mid lane, Zeka was being extremely aggressive and tried to get a kill onto Faker. However, he miscalculated his damage and ended up taking an extra turret shot due to his runes. Kanavi was able to get a huge lead for Zeus by ganking Sion over and over and over. This allowed HLE to get a significant lead, which let them take the Baron and cement a 5,000 gold lead over T1. Despite being up in gold, HLE take a really bad trade, as Zeus flashes over in pursuit of the Jarvan and ends up getting popped. Since Zeus had the majority of the gold on HLE, his death allows T1 to immediately head to the Baron, take the Baron, and win a fight off of Sion's ult engage. In the next objective, Zeka on the rise attempts to flank T1, but gets picked off immediately, which allows T1 to corral the rest of HLE and finish them off and also get the dragon. At this point, T1 has made a comeback despite being down 7,000 gold. Just when it looked like T1 was going to make a crazy comeback, the Light engages onto Jarvan using the Camille ult, followed by a Ziggs ultimate, leading to Jarvan dying. Faker is then forced to TP in the middle of the lane and gets quickly picked off by the rest of HLE. HLE is then able to clean up the fight and take the rest of the game. Kanavi starts off game 2 with 3 extremely proactive plays. First, he ganks top lane and gets first blood. He then goes mid and helps Zeka secure a kill onto Faker. Lastly, he defends against Oner and ends up getting a kill onto the Nocturne. These early game proactive plays allow Kanavi and HLE to get ahead. In the turning point of the game, Gumayusi is able to sidestep the Mbessa ultimate. He tries to engage onto T1, but Nocturne ults, forcing him into an awkward spot where he gets engaged on by the Rakan and killed. Because of this, Peyz is able to keep on free firing on the Sivir and ends up getting a quadra kill. Just like the first game, HLE is able to amass a substantial lead before throwing it away in a mid-game fight. In the very next fight, Gumayusi gets picked off again thanks to a beautiful engage from the Rakan and the Lissandra. This allows T1 to take the dragon and advance their lead. Off those two fights, T1 is able to amass a 10,000 gold lead, which proves too much for HLE to be able to come back from, as they lose Game 2. Game 3 starts off in a similar fashion to Game 2, as Oner tries to invade Kanavi and gets punished for it, leading to first blood. Kanavi is able to stay proactive on the map and ends up finding a gank for Zeka in the mid lane, leading to Faker dying. At the 22nd minute mark, T1 is able to find the pick onto Kog'Maw as he overextends, leading to his death. This then allows T1 to posture around the dragon and force HLE off the objective. Just as T1 is about to take the dragon, Kanavi is able to sneak by and steal it. On his way out, he also gets a couple of kills. After the dragon, Zeus and Kanavi set up a trap for the Naafiri and kill her as soon as she steps into the bush. Faker tries to salvage the fight by ulting the Naafiri, but gets caught out just as well and killed. With 2 members down on T1, HLE heads straight to the Baron and takes it. After taking Baron, HLE head to the Dragon Pit to try to get Dragon Soul. T1 attempts to flank them, but a great Lulu ultimate prevents Kog'Maw from getting caught out. Kog'Maw then repositions and is able to free fire for the rest of the fight. Kanavi then gets a crazy steal onto the dragon, securing the Dragon Soul and cleaning up the rest of the fight. With the Dragon Soul secured, HLE is able to build up a near 10,000 gold lead, which they then use to bust open the base and end the game. For the third game in a row, Kanavi is once again proactive on the map, leading to first blood for Senna. Kanavi and the Light then team up to roam around the map and look for picks. HLE is able to find quick skirmishes around the map, which allows them to build up an incremental lead. Zeus is even able to find an engage onto Faker, which allows him to take the 1v1. At this point in the game, HLE is extremely far ahead of T1, and T1 seems lost. HLE is able to hook the Thresh over and take the Baron, before Zeka engages onto the Poppy and finishes her off. Off the Baron, HLE is able to amass an 8,000 gold lead, and T1 is unable to catch up. T1 drafted a Seer and a Phelios into their team, which means that they would have been able to come back had the game gone on for later, but HLE does not let them. HLE defeat T1 3-1, and for the first time in organization history, lock in MSI. Coming into the series, T1 had come in as the heavy favorites to win the series and advance to MSI. Part of what made T1 so strong was Faker's ability to roam and unlock the bot lane. In the bot lane, Peyz would normally be able to amass big CS leads, and Keria would be roaming around the map with Oner and Faker to free up the rest of the map and make picks. In this series, we did not get to see any of that. Faker was underperforming against Zeka, and Kanavi was everywhere on the map, constantly beating out Oner, beating him in jungle fights, beating him to objectives, and finding ways to get all 3 lanes ahead. In terms of the support role, the Light did a really good job of roaming around the map and getting picks. This put T1 on the defensive and made it really hard for Keria to go out and look for plays. I think overall, Faker, Keria, and Oner all underperformed this series and allowed Kanavi to do whatever he wanted. I think Kanavi is the MVP of this series. In every game this series, even the game that HLE lost, HLE completely destroyed T1 in the early game. Oner was nowhere to be found, and Kanavi was everywhere. Aside from the first game, Kanavi's creative pathing allowed him to secure first blood for his team in 3 out of the 4 matches. Kanavi also had some clutch steals around the Dragon Pit, which allowed HLE to stay ahead and close out the games. For those of you guys who stayed until the end, I want to thank you all for sticking by and watching this video. I'm very new to YouTube and content creation, so I'll strive to improve as time goes on and be more consistent with my uploads. Please like and subscribe, and thank you very much, and have a nice day.